Yeah, it was just minimal effort.
Krydex chose to take that second damage on the turn that he took damage, just so that he would have face-up damage. He easily could have guarded. And we're moving to game 2. Zan probably chooses to go first. Yeah, goes ahead and just draws. Just starts immediate Nikki ride.
Searching for the grade 3 Thavas.
Or Dennis, grade 2. Cannot forget. You can hit either. And in fact, he does only hit Dennis. Rest go to deck, and he should hopefully remember to also shuffle up and then draw for the skill at the start. Yep, because there we go. That should be the turn. Calls.
Trigger?
Oh, for a distance. Fantastic.
Okay. This is what we were missing out on game 1. The ride chain.
So Sasori Kage, you're in the chat. Are you finished with your round already? Moving on up.
Yeah, how'd you do? 1-2-0. Congrats.
We'll get to see him and whoever finishes out this match here. Be a tough run for Zan to get past a turn 1 Zarzan.
Yeah, it's one of the best turn 1s in the whole game.
Yeah, the plus 20k and a crit. That's 4 damage on turn 1. The only saving a card. That hurts.
Is he going to go for the damage and I play is the real question. I do not think that's a good idea in the slightest.
Can't. If he does, I mean, there's just no point. You really need to get damage on. I know damage denying Granblue decks has been a pretty standard practice for a lot of the meta for a long time, and here he goes doing more damage tactics, but it's just not worth it. It's not gonna pay off.
I'm thinking that he's going to use the Odysseus.
Yeah,
Shoving the Pursuit Assault.
I definitely would have put the bumper shooter in.
Because if you would have been able, if they would have let the Vanguard hit. Well, I guess it's because he's recalling it anyway.
That's true. But he also could have had Dennis on board instead of having to call another Pursuit Assault out. Because the Pursuit Assaults are just vanilla 9Ks right now.
Yep, until you hit grade 3, then they do things.
Well, and if anything like last game, for an example, he didn't hit a standard grade 3. He called one, but he didn't ride it. So the Pursuit Assaults are just draw engines. There's the damage deny. I really disagree.
I also heavily disagree. I guess he thinks that he wouldn't guard and get the on hit. No, it's because Pavros is only when it attack its Vanguard.
Yeah, I'm failing to see why you would choose to continue the strategy that clearly hasn't been working.
Well, you're just not putting pressure on him. He's committing so much to the board. If you would have just pushed him in, you'd be in a million times better of a spot.
Because they would have had damage, but they don't use much blast. I mean, yeah, there's columns, but they don't use much of their counterblast until they start striding.
And then Thavas already pushed a 5, and it's not even first stride yet.
We do see standard Thavas.
Okay.
And Excel 2 replenishes the ride from hand. We're seeing some forward progression. We see another Thavas hit the board. Thavas's abilities,
Double Thavas.
The Thavas second ability is good. The resting a rear guard to retire something, not optimal because they're just get it. Like you can pop anything, and they if they want it back, Krydex can just grab it. So you can remove intercept. He goes ahead and uses both. We're going to go ahead and let's go straight into Lambros at the beginning of battle phase. Restand your whole board. And he's going for damage. There's a tier out. Already worth going for damage. Already worth it. We're going to see this.
Maybe attacking with the Coral Assaults was not... Second probably was not the best idea. Well, no, actually, it's because he's going to restand it, so...
He's probably going to restand, restand that full column. And that is a triple drop no guard. The heal feels wonderful for Zan.
But besides that, very dry. There's a Beatrice, too, already proving that hitting, like going for it was a good idea.
Definitely should have swung the Pursuit Assault column before and gotten the additional 15k off of Cool Assault.
Yeah, that might have been a slight misplay.
Go ahead and popping that. You know what? After the full board disappears, I don't hate just going ahead and getting rid of them. Because we're at a point where Krydex has very minimal cards in hand. That was a phenomenal turn from Zan. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think it could have gone better, except maybe for the triggers.
Yeah, the only thing that could have gone better would have been the grade 1s being triggers. But, I mean, even still, phenomenal turn. We're probably going to see Big Obadiah here just to set up that drop zone. Very standard practice. It's hard. It's hard to beat Big Obadiah on first strike.
It's just so good. It's a selective mill 5 and a call to on first stride for one.
We're going straight. What are you seeing? What are you going to see? Obviously, Skull Dragons. What else?
Skull Dragons? Maybe Ghost Ships? Yes, Ghost Ships. Because his hand is lacking right now, and if he does not kill this turn, he might just be dead on the crackback to an Alexandros, a Lambros.
I would love to see. I think Gem Build would be a phenomenal stride if he manages to survive Krydex's turn.
Because he has the extra 2 excels.
Yeah, I mean, right now, the only reason you wouldn't go Gem Build Alexandra is because you don't want to. But with 19 cards, you're fine drawing.
Yep.
Yeah, the following turn after, that would be a possible issue. But right now, Gembo Dragon feels phenomenal. Not many strides that feel much better. One to consider, Balan Arena.
Yes, he has so few cards in his hand, and one of them is a protect marker. He would only be able to hard PG 1 attack. Not to mention the massive amount of cards that the Thavas player has access to currently, along with 3 extra from the top of the deck. It seems really playable.
Yep. Any of those being grade 1. Plus, he just revealed 2 grade 1s drive check, plus a heal. So we know he has 1s and 0s in hand. Balan Arena would feel incredible. Now, there are 2 of the standard Thavas already out of it. And we don't know if he's got it in his hand. But it is an option. And if he doesn't, like I said, Gembo Dragon, phenomenal choice.
And what I really think is about to happen for our Granblue player is they're going to Nightstorm and Ghost Ship to get 2 Ghost Ship activations just to get more cards in their hand. Because they're in desperate need of that.
They're in desperate need of the cards, and their drop zone, yeah, you could get value out of a Skull Dragon. They opted not to even get a Skull Dragon, so it has to be the Ghost Ship.
They're going for cards. Not to mention they're already lacking on shield because they're not on Beatrice.
The regular shields versus Beatrice bonus ghosty shields makes a heck of a difference here. You're going to see the retired Pursuit Assault, so that knocks out the only intercept
Beatrice. We're going to Superior Call. Very easily. Okay, just go straight for the Cannoneer. But if you go Cannoneer, you don't get...
He doesn't get the Night Storm.
He does get the Night Storm. Check the drop zone. He does have Jesse the Ghosty, which he will probably...
get with the Negerbone.
And that's why he didn't do Skull Dragon. He had one in hand. That makes sense. Go ahead and grab the tier. Flip up your damage. Just like that. So now you've skipped the Jesse. You don't even need the Jesse. You could still call the Jesse and drop the Cannoneers to your drop zone so that you have them available for Negro. Just like that. Krydax playing a phenomenal game out here. You can tell that he's been playing with Beatrice the second it got spoiled. Just running with the deck. Overall, it's looking like it has enough offensive pressure to it, but it's definitely more reserved than previous first stride turns. Krydax.
It's a mid-rangey type of deck, which is not something you see.
And it's fun being able to slow down the tempo of the game.
It's a lot like what is like it reminds me of Grixis from Magic.
Yes. Well, and here we go. He's trying to figure out.
Also,
that's a 2 currently. And that won't hit, but we do see the critical trigger.
Probably gonna go to the Ghost Ship. Yep.
Yeah, Ghost Ship, because it'll be a 39k swing, 2 crit. Has to guard this attack. Has to.
Ooh,
we go ahead.
PG.
Definitely, definitely not. We'll put down the perfect guard.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess regardless, you'd have to use 2 or more cards from your hand to guard this in the first place.
Yeah, because even if you look at G Guardians, Ionis is the only one that could put up even close to a fight, and that only would be a 30k shield.
Well, that would still be enough.
Enough, but at that point, you're still dropping a heal and flipping up yet another G Guard. And, most people run 4, maybe 5 G Guards. That's a good chunk of your G Guards up in turn.
Very true, very true.
And you're probably going to want to hold an Ionis for another attack anyway. And that's all under the assumption that he has another healing.
Down to 3 cards left in deck. He's probably going to get back the Ghost Ship. Get another card in his hand. Oh, no, going for Beatrice.
Beatrice.
To then get the Ghost Ship. No?
Arzon. Flipping up another Cyclone. Dropping a heal from hand. Those must be the only vanillas he has.
That's what it's looking like. But it's an extra really big column. I guess he's just really pushing for it. Probably takes his hit. And
that's a heal. 4 damage for Zan. Does Zan have cost for stride? Yes, he does.
Gembold. Really good here.
Gembold Dragon. Refill that hand. Extra restands. You can't go wrong. Free superior calls. Phenomenal stride.
Yeah. Gembel Dragon is the play. If he G-guarded it for... Oh no, he couldn't have even used Ionis. Oh no, yes he could have.
Could have. It's just... Unless he used it on the Ghost Ship attack, it wouldn't have been worth much.
Sure. He's definitely taking his time finding out what he wants to stride into. Gembold is normally the windmill slam here.
I appreciate he's taking his time and probably thinking out his options. He doesn't want the wrong choice of stride. But
is he taking it back?
Take
Oh.
opposite discard discard Thavas. Note he could have rewrote and gotten an additional Excel circle as well. That's another option before going into gem build. But I don't think Balinarin is the play anymore. His hand is devastated.
Big.
We see Valios Revive come to the board. Not the stride I was expecting to see.
Yeah, definitely not the best option in my opinion for the current situation.
I definitely would have gone Gem
Jumbo
Bolt over Valios, because Valios forces you to call whatever you have in hand for his ability if you want to make anything worth it.
Mm-hmm.
There's Sasori-Kage, as much fun as Megiddo would be, he only has one face-up card in G-Zone. So Megiddo, you cannot ultimate stride yet.
Which is kind of sad.
We go ahead and see a direct attack from Valios Revive.
He should be popping off the skill, flipping over a Lambros.
Flipping Lambros, probably meaning he's probably not going to use Lambros at any later point in the game if we get there. We do see he had decent targets for the calls,
which is a blessing for Zan. But on the other hand,
he could have just called them from hand after using Gem Bolt. Yeah, even the chat's kind of wondering. Gem Bolt
would have been.
Gem Bolt was the play.
We are
even
all
if he
confused.
guarded the other standard Thavas for it and kept the Supreme Ruler of the Storm for the restand ability, which is a great ability. But it looks like he's just forcing this turn into the restand. Because this is wave 3. Needs 5k more. There you go.
Very fortunate. But I don't know how much that's going to do against a possible Megiddo.
And we're swinging turn or time. So this is wave 4, swinging for 36. That is a 30,000 guard. Though not super difficult if he happened to have been on Beatrice. Nightrose does not give defensive bonuses. We restand the Thavas. You swing the other, you guard it. Nice and easy. You swing it in. Even if they go to 5, Krydex isn't feeling pressure.
Yep,
he's feeling really good right now.
Megiddo into death.
This could easily be a Megiddo turn. Assuming he has Nightrose. Now, I don't know that in all 3 or 4 of the games we've seen from him on stream, I don't think I've seen more than 2 Nightrose.
Mm-hmm.
So Nightrose might be a deck tech.
Yeah, and I do see that one of them in damage.
So I don't know that we do see Nightrose. He is showing us Nightrose. So we do in fact have more than 2. And this very easily could be Megiddo. But if he goes Megiddo, he's forfeiting Cyclones if he doesn't kill this turn.
Very true. Although I think the risk is well worth it with the current board state.
Keep in mind, Zan has just healed up from 5 damage.
Mm-hmm. With only 5 cards left in his hand, though, I doubt he'd be able to live another 6 Skull Dragon swings.
It just depends on what Krydex chooses to call if he goes Megiddo. Now, he won't be able to get a Skull Dragon off of a Beatrice on place because of Megiddo. He could do Beatrice from Nightstorm and get another, but that's just, we're just adding at that point, just an additional 12k swing.
And looking at it, he only has 1 Skull Dragon in his drop.
This would be a very interesting Megiddo turn, if nothing else.
Mm-hmm. I definitely see a lot of options. Negger Bones are online as well.
Yeah, the Hex is pointing out what I had mentioned a previous turn, or a previous statement. because Zan healed so many times, he does have heal triggers in hand. He can G-Guard twice.
Got 2 G-Guard.
And one of them would be a full-powered Ionis. You choose up to 5 rear guards. He has 5 rear guards. So that would be a 40k shield off of a G-Flip G-Guard. So these Skull Dragons would be the only really big issue. Though we do see Bad Bounty. So we are going to see Bad Bounty plays.
We're going to use Columbard. What's he going to use with Columbard? Grab the other Skull Dragon. Probably send that to drop zone and call either a Nightstorm or a Beatrice.
It's more than likely going to be Beatrice.
Because then you can...
No, he doesn't have a soul. He has to go Nightstorm.
Has to go Nightstorm? Yep. King Serpent generates soul. And then you can use Negrobounds and drop. I see 2.
But he only has access to 1 currently because it's a discard.
There's a discard ability. So he does only have 1. So this will probably be Nightstorm.
Opting to keep the crit because it's a 20k attacker.
30k column, not bad. No, 40k column, 40k column.
40k column. Hollow on the Nightstorm just to make sure everybody's clear. We go ahead and see Jesse being superior call. Going for that counter charge.
So, with attack order, I think he swings Jesse first. This way he gets the extra power.
I think he swings Bad Bounty first. That way he has 2 front row targets to apply triggers to. And then he can use Nightstorm after Bad Bounty, but before, say, Nightrose. But he is opting to use Jesse first. So that does only leave 1 front target Bad Bounty's drive checks besides himself. In case there is a perfect guard thrown down.
We do only know 3 cards in his hand currently, and it's 2 heals and something else. So there are still 2 unknown cards. One of them may or may not be a PG.
We do see him ditch for the Ionis. After a rear guard got popped, it does go down to only plus 20k shield. Still very powerful.
35k shield, nothing to scoff at.
Contemplating giving the power to the Vanguard second check. If he hits a third trigger or a second trigger on the third check, he pushes through the shield, but he opts to go ahead and give it to the nice
Safer bet.
much safer play and ends up not getting that second trigger. So obviously the correct play. There's some need for him to think about overextending, but glad it worked out for him because we don't want to see any whiffed games because of that stuff.
Yep, so I think we're then going to see the reride into Beatrice. Oh no, he's going to go for another Nightrose.
We go Nightrose. Nightrose calls another column.
Yep.
Which that column could call Beatrice, which can call a Skull Dragon. Very powerful combination of cards. Very, very amused by Krydex's overall deck list. I've enjoyed
the attack
watching
pattern. There are just so many different lines of play that you can take, and I'm enjoying it. as we've seen throughout the couple of games that we've been watching, there's not been a situation where it seems like you figured out like a singular line that leads to the perfect scenario. There's so many different ways to get there.
We're looking at a 15k guard for that Night Storm attack right now. Zan has the opportunity to take up to 3 damage. He doesn't have to hard guard every attack early, but as the turn goes on, besides this Nightrose swing, there's not going to be very many weaker. And we go ahead and see the 15k guard dropping 2 cards from hand, Nikki and Odysseus. And we go straight into Night Storm skill.
And that's gonna pop up a dragon, or is it gonna pop up a Beatrice? Beatrice, which gonna pop up a dragon.
Ball dragon. And that gets 2 attacks, and then Nightrose attacks. You call Beatrice again, and then you call either Nightrose or Beatrice, or both. If you've got the skill, you've got enough counterblasts to go ahead and do both on the second calling of Beatrice.
And Beatrice is not a hard once per turn.
Beatrice is in fact not a hard once per turn, because usually on place is enough for these kinds of skills, but Granblue is one of the few clans that can make so much use out of these on place.
Just so much recursion.
The Hex in chat pointing out Krydex also has Cody in drop. So just yet another way to continue attacks. Now it is important to note the timing for Cody, since Cody doesn't gain power from anything. You'll want the booster. So if you do Cody, you'd want to do it after a Skull Dragon retires itself. But if he does Cody and he chooses to use Nightrose Vanguard skill, which he should, he will be out of counter unless he chooses to call something from drop zone that countercharges. So he wouldn't have enough for Knights. And for anyone not keeping track of power levels, Nightrose is still buffing anything that attacks or boosts rear guard wise by 5,000 power. Very strong plays. It's been fun seeing him on Nightrose because we've seen him on Beatrice for 3 games in a row. Opts to take the attack that's only a 10k guard.
One of those cards in his hand must be a grade 3. Okay.
Draws. Defensive and draw. That's very important for any attack besides another Skull Dragon swing.
And the Nightrose swing itself will be 22 still.
He can call Serpent Hex. I
don't think that that's the right play, though.
How much that does for him.
Oh, he's going for the Cody already, though.
The Cody. So we see Cody. He's going to obviously give it 5k for the attack. Zarzan with 5k from boosting Nightrose ability. We're looking at a 22k swing right here. If he opts for it, he goes
bring 16 stands. I think there was one Valk player. There
was. I don't know if it was 16 stand or not. We have someone checking that right now, but we did have one Astro player running all the good stuff. You know, Aesonis Dragon and all the usual Astropoet stuff. We did have a Blade Master player. Did not make top cut. That doesn't surprise me with the RNG involved in the deck. Sometimes you win numerous games, and sometimes you don't see your stands when you need them. Such as
pick Force 2 over Force 1.
Yeah, if you pick Force 2, you just make me sad because Force 1 in that deck is just better. Don't at me.
So top 3 are not loops. Yes, so far loops did not get there.
Looks like Pale Moon has been taken out of top 8. OTT, I believe, has been knocked out of top 8. Should just be Sasori Kage and whoever wins this match.
Yep,
Whether
so-
Krydex or if Zan take it
And
to the next. We're seeing a 5k guard presented here, or 5k 2 guard, this attack presented. And even after drawing a card off of the defensive draw trigger, Zan isn't
entirely threatened. Really taking his time to think about this.
Well, it's important he takes the extra second to breathe and think about it, because it could be the end of it, could end up being the end of the tournament for him.
Ooh, not a defensive.
Not a defensive, and that was a 5k guard. And if we see another Skull Dragon, he's pretty much guaranteed to have to take it, unless the last unknown card in his hand is a perfect guard.
Yeah, staring down double Skull Dragon once again. Unless you hit like a heal.
Goes ahead and opts for the double Skull Dragon. Yeah, we see yet another Ionis, but it's going to take this and whatever else he has in his hand to stop
This one.
Skull Dragon. He's going to have to eat another Skull Dragon, and we know he doesn't, because he's got 4 in drop zone.
Yep, he has out of heals.
And there's that's 2 crits off of the twin drive from Nightrose. I'm gonna have to say this match is Krydex. There's the perfect guard. The last unknown is a perfect guard, and the last damage gets taken. That is the game.
That's the set.
Much better showing once he decided to push for